Kia ora and welcome back. Here we have our lamb leg marinated at room temperature for at least half an hour, a little bit longer. Here we have our trivet of rosemary stalks. You can tell my bush needed a bit of trimming. Some onions, garlic, cracked pepper and a good swig of a nice red wine. You might think it's a waste of good wine, but never is. And then a good cup of stock. What I'm using, I've actually got this lamb stock concentrate. So that's about 20 mils topped up. Maybe a little bit more liquid. So obviously any stock, you can even use chicken stock with this. Beef would be a little bit more preferable, but it's just going to add that flavour. The more liquid we have in here, I'm going to get out. You can see I've cracked the joint so that it fits. It's not one big long leg anymore. I've pulled the hock back, so now it's a nice even shape. I'm not going to waste this marinade. Okay, before I've done this, I've cranked my oven up to about 210 on a roast. Obviously if you're going fan bake, you want to pull back a little bit, but we want to start on a really high temperature. And that'll start the cooking process quite well. All of that liquid is really important. It's going to do a couple of things. As things roast, if you had the lid off, all of the liquid evaporates. If the liquid evaporates out of the lamb, it's going to shrink, which we don't want. But it's also going to give us a basting liquid, which halfway through the process. So I'm going to put this. All right, half an hour at approximately 210 on roast. Now I've taken it out. I'm going to remove the lid. Being careful not to get a steam burn or anything. And at this stage, I'm just going to pick up some of the beautiful juices. You can see that the marinade that I've used has kept a nice seal on the lamb to seal in some of the juices, the natural juices. And you can also see down this end, as it cooks, the meat is shrinking. You can't get away from that, but the hotter it is, the quicker it'll shrink, or the more it'll shrink. So now I've turned it right down to 155. This guy's going back in there without a lid, but you can see that all of that moisture, it's that steam, which is a good sign. Okay, nice low temperature just to cook it all the way through. Okay, so that roast is out of the oven. It is now going to sit with the lid on for 10 minutes to rest. But first, what I'm going to do is take that lid off. You can see the beautiful, if only you could smell it. Delightful, it's nice and tender. It'll be even more tender once it's rested. All I'm going to do is make a sauce or a gravy. So there are a lot of different ways you can do this. I just pass that liquid through a sieve. Obviously if you leave a little bit of liquid behind, it's good because it keeps moisture inside the container for resting, so it keeps a nice steam. This is going to be quite a strong flavour. There are a couple of different ways. You could thicken it with flour. You could take the lamb out and rest it separately and make the gravy from the roast juices inside here. But I do a little technique I learnt from the pub. I get the dodgy. So this is just a packet of gravy mix, which basically is corn flour with a bit of flavouring. And I'm going to bring this up to the boil so that I cook out some of that red wine flavour. Have a little taste. If it is too strong, I will take most of it out, make the gravy and then add back in some of this flavour, just to make sure it's not too overpowering or too bitter. You might have seen I had quite a bit of rosemary in the bottom of that roast, so just to make sure it's not too overpowering. I'll reduce it down a little bit, take most of it out, have a taste, make the gravy, then add back as much as I need to. Don't forget to season. You can see my vegetables, they've got another probably 5 or 10 minutes in the oven still, just to soften up. So this is when I've added my mushrooms or any softer vegetables like courgette if you wanted. But yeah, that is dinner almost done.